your name at the top of his list. And the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist. And the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here. Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Appreciate you tuning in today. Today we're going to be talking with David Hall of the Honor Flight, Calhoun County's Honor Flight. You know about that. We're going to come right back and tell more about it. Get your pen. Be right back. Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins, and I'm talking today with a guy that he's on the show for the first time, but he's talking about something near and dear to our hearts. We talked about with Chief Partridge years ago when they're doing the honor flights, taking the people, the veterans, to their memorials in Washington, D.C. Welcome to the show, David Hall.
Thank you, Ken. Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here. Let me background you. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York.
I knew you was from up that way toward Boston. You got that accent. It's not Southern.
I'm working on it.
Well, you need to be working on it, not on it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord, I got some mutual friends, but you work out CDP. Is that?
I do, sir.
That's good. All right. Well, we're going to talk about the honor flight today. For those that might, if there's anybody out there been on a rock, don't know what honor flights are, just give me a basic what you're doing.
Well, Honor Flight was actually founded back in 2004 by a gentleman by the name of Earl Morse. And he was a physician's assistant that was working in the VA clinic right outside of Springfield, Ohio. And when he was seeing patients all the time, he was talking to them about going to visit their memorial. And he couldn't believe how many had never been to Washington, D.C. to see the war memorials that were built for them. You know, the Vietnam Veterans War Memorial was opened up in 1982. The Korean Veterans War Memorial was opened up in 1995, and of course World War II in April of 2004. Since then, Honor Flight has had over 400 different honor flights from throughout the country, allowing over 160,000 veterans now to go see their memorial up in Washington, D.C. at no cost to them.
Years ago, not too many years ago, Oxford Police Chief, they raised over $10,000 sending veterans, World War II veterans only. And some of those guys come back and they passed away just a few days after going up there. But I had some of them on the show telling about their experience. And I'll tell you, it's a very moving experience to go up there, and they'd go over to the Alabama part, find their buddies. But the biggest thing they got out of it, David, was the people showing them love in the airports and all along the way up at the visitors at the memorial would come up to them, get their autographs, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, and it's finally the welcome home that many of them deserve. You know, those folks that were coming back from World War II would go home on a train, have a duffel bag on their back over their shoulder. They'd show up at mom and dad's house, hey, I'm home, get the hug from mom, the handshake from dad, and boom, they're working the very next day. So not everyone got that glorious parade down, you know, Main Street in New York City or, you know, wherever. Obviously, our folks from Korea and Vietnam, they didn't get that same welcome home either.
Yeah.
And so
Korea was a forgotten war, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
But the fellow that was overseeing there came up with the Vietnam Memorial, a friend of mine, Jan Scruggs. Jan ran into some of the same problems I did here in Anniston with building our memorials here. Our park up there in 17th Street, the CDBG, the Community Block Grant, starts up there, and you can't build anything abrupt. And he ran into the same problem off of Constitution Avenue. They didn't want something abrupt between them and Thomas Jefferson Memorial stuff. So if you go to the Vietnam Memorial, you know the first thing you do is you start going down.
Amen.
It's down below ground level, and you can't see anything out across there. Matter of fact, you walk off it and fall. But he told me how he got around that. So I come back and redesigned and made the berms to these walls up here slope. And the planning board of Anniston just shook their head because I wasn't building the abrupt. So we were able to do that off of that memorial. But the memorials up there, at one time, the Vietnam Memorial was the most visited, even above the Smithsonian, was the most visited attraction, if you will, in D.C. And I don't guess it is now, but the World War II Memorial, they tell me, I have not seen it. They said I've seen video of it and pictures.
I've had the opportunity to visit the World War II Memorial on numerous occasions.
Really?
As well as the Korean and Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And the World War II Memorial in the summertime is absolutely beautiful. When the fountains are going and things are so vibrant, as far as the grass and everything around you, it's a beautiful thing. It's not as vibrant in the wintertime when the fountains aren't going.
I've been there and done that.
They get the snow up there in D.C. So
walking along the lake is fine in the summer, but I'll tell you, the air from that water makes a big difference. But
it does.
I said they took the World War II veterans up there. What are these people you're taking? Are they all wars or what?
We're going to look to not only take World War II veterans, but also Korean War veterans and Vietnam War veterans. We're going to concentrate within Calhoun County at first, and our goal is to take 99 veterans along with 50 support people. Now you have to have these support people. Because not all the veterans are able to get around on their own. So you've got to have folks that are able to.
I can tell you this, some of the people who have been, and I mentioned Bill Partridge, there's no greater experience than to be holding on to the handles of a wheelchair of a World War II veteran finally getting that welcome you're talking about. Just in the airports and all that stuff, and on the buses, people along the street, military saluting them and that kind of thing. It's just an awesome. I don't know if I can handle it or not. I get too emotional thing like that. But so it's World War II, Korean, and Vietnam.
Yes, sir.
Calhoun County area, and we got your contact information on the screen. I do that like Vanna White, don't I? Like this.
Sure.
You can see them. No, for the folks out there out of TV land, we can't see anything. We just depend on the controller and put it up there. But anyhow, we got your contact information. If somebody wants to help sponsor, how much does it cost for a sponsor to?
Well, we're guesstimating that the whole experience is going to cost about $70,000, and that's to charter the airplane. We are going to try and fly out of Anniston Airport. Our only issue right now is finding a ramp in order to get the wheelchairs up to the aircraft, or when we return, get them back down in a safe manner.
Forklifts, lifts that they got?
We're working a lot of different things with that right now, and hopefully we'll hear something back from the airlines and the airport soon, so that we can book our final date as far as putting a target on the wall.
Okay, but what if somebody wants to sponsor a veteran and push that wheelchair, like I said?
Well, we have guardians. The guardians who accompany the veterans on this flight are going to pay $350 in order to go on the flight.
Okay. I thought like $400, but that's great.
But we're going to do $350 and keep it at that. We think that, we don't want to kill them for coming to work to help us out.
Now they fly out of Anniston, and then they go direct. It's a direct flight to Baltimore.
Be a direct flight to Reagan National.
Reagan National, okay.
And upon arrival at Reagan National, typically what they do is the fire department get their pumpers out, and they spray the arches over the aircraft as it approaches the gate. The USO up there has already graciously said, yes, we will decorate the jetway, the gateway when they're coming off the aircraft. And then they typically have folks outside there that are gathering up folks within the terminal in order to give those veterans that welcome home that they deserve.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if you ever see, you Google honor flights and look at some of that, you better be alone when you're doing it.
Yes, sir.
Especially if you don't
you
want to
better have a tissue or two.
Yeah, we got to go to a commercial, and when we can do that, well, it's actually people pay the bills. Get your pen, write this number down. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins. I'm talking with David Hall. He's with the Calhoun County Honor Flights, and we were talking before we went to commercial about the cost. How much?
$350 for each guardian.
$350 for the guardian to go with them, and I guarantee you'll get a lot more out of that. When I talked to some of the people, I know our commissioner, Admiral Marsh, went up. He took 2 veterans. One was walking and one was in a chair. And he told me when they got back to Montgomery, their daughters were there to meet them. They didn't want to go. They wanted to stay up there because they felt like rock stars. They were treated, they didn't want to go back home.
I can understand that.
Yeah. So if people want to donate, you said $70,000. you're working this through the Disabled American Veterans, which is a not-for-profit organization, and they can donate by going to CalhounCountyHonorFlight.com, or they can call that number. And nothing's, I apologize for this cough I got here today, but I don't know of any other blessing someone would get other than to be able to be there and witness what I've seen in the past with these people, seeing their memorial. Now, the World War II veterans are going to go see their memorial. Will they go over to see the Vietnam Memorial too?
Yes, sir. Once we arrive at Reagan National, we're getting off the plane. We'll have 3 commercial buses there. We'll be split down into 3 teams, red, white, and blue. And we'll give the veterans and the support folks T-shirts so that everyone's color coordinated. We'll make a short tour through Washington, D.C. The U.S. Park Police are always generous to escort the buses so that we don't have a lot of traffic issues getting to where we want to go. But we'll stop at the World War II Memorial first.
All of you?
Everyone will stop there, and that's where typically politicians from the local area will greet the soldiers in order to welcome them home.
Oh, bless
and
their
I say
heart.
soldiers, but I mean service members.
I know. That's something I get. When Bentley first went into office as governor, we had a grand opening for our groundbreaking for the Veteran Cemetery down at Spanish Fort, and he mentioned from the stage the soldiers. Well, I was sitting beside him and right there behind him, he said that word, and it wasn't long, the old Marine sitting there in the wheelchair said, "How about the Marines?" He said, "Yeah, them Marines had some good soldiers too." I got with his chief of staff and I explained to him, called servicemen and women. Next place he did is the veterans home down there. Your soldiers that have served, people just use that as a generic. So
yes, sir.
People shouldn't get offended by it, but
once we finish up the World War II Memorial, we will move down to the Korean War Memorial and the Vietnam Veterans War Memorial, and allow those personnel to spend time there, and everyone will disembark the buses again there. We'll serve lunch there. We'll have lunch catered by Arby's. They bring out a cold sandwich, cold drink, some fruit, pudding, etc. If anyone wants to walk across the street to go see the Lincoln Memorial, they're more than able to do that. Then once we're done there, we'll move out to Arlington National Cemetery, and we will go see the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown, because some of the folks that will be on this trip may have served with someone, whose remains have not been recovered, and so they deserve to go pay respects to the Tomb of the Unknown.
Yeah, I've had people on the show who have friends that are buried up there, especially the land in Normandy. Hillman Prestige, I can remember him, that had some of the Bedford boys that are buried up there. But that's and so it's just a one-day thing. So it's just a whirlwind thing, and they on a rock star trip.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, I like that way you said about that.
And we will probably starting in late September start to petition some of the local schools here to have the kids write letters thanking veterans. Petition the teachers so that they're prepared to do it, and if they need someone to come in and speak to the children about what the veterans do, what they've done, certainly we can set that up. But get those kids to write thank you notes to these folks who are going to be on this trip.
Wow.
That way on the way home, we can have milk call.
There you go.
So you have an activity to keep everyone busy the whole time.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to look in this camera here and I say, firemen, if you're out there and you got boots, get that boot out there. Let's put the boot out somewhere at a roadblock, a box store somewhere. Let's raise some money for these for this honor flight. And any of you other organizations, law enforcement, whatever, like Bill Parcher them did at Oxford, they raised $10,000. That would be a big deal. You could get somebody to do that.
It would.
And I say firemen because if they UCP or anything like that, that's the guys you always say, girls, that you see out there. So we need to get some organizations involved in this right here.
And we've had a couple good sponsors already with the CDP Employee Association and the Fort McClellan Credit Union. And the Fort McClellan Credit Union is also going to have drop jars inside their branches. And so we hope to get those set up in the next week or so. Right while you're there doing your business, you can drop something in the jar.
Do you have a target date for this?
We're looking for May of 2017.
Okay.
We're shooting actually for May 17th of 2017, but it depends on the availability of the aircraft from the airlines. So right now we're good. It's just that ramp issue at Anniston Airport.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to solve that, I guarantee you. 'Cause
I'm sure we
you go
will.
over them rental places, they got them scissor lifts, so they got all kind of things. But then again, the FAA, the airport may not want that piece of equipment next to their aircraft.
Well, we'll get it
for
figured out.
damage. Yeah, I'm sure you will. You know, we can put pillows around it or something. We're gonna get them up in there.
Amen.
But in order to do some of that, seats have to be adjusted to accommodate those that have to stay in the chair.
Actually,
Do you have any that's going to stay in the chair?
no, we won't have any that stay in the chair.
They're going to be okay.
They'll be able to get in the aircraft. Those that we'll put them up front in the airplane.
I had to take a country music star out to Dinah Shore show in California one time and had a broke right leg in a cast straight out. And that was a challenge with American Airlines. But they put him on the inside seat and stacked pillows, the little bitty pillows, and they were rickety, but that's the way he made the flight. Was they can improvise, let's put it that way.
Well, I don't think you'd want to do that today.
No, you wouldn't want to do that. And let's see, I got that about the donation. You mentioned something about the USO a while ago, that they'd be there to do. When I was in Vietnam, I said the words USO always a welcome sign for veterans. I went to a place in Trang, Vietnam that said USO, and it was not a USO. It was a Vietnamese place, and they had meats of all kinds. And a special forces guy says, "That's good." And I had him fix me a sandwich of it, only to find out outside that I had just ate a canine, a dog.
I've done that before myself.
But I don't remember if it tastes like chicken or whatever. People ask me, say, "How did it taste?" I don't remember. You know, I just found myself chasing cars. No, I just get, but it was a USO. When you said that, I said that used to be the best letters a military could see. Now the cost of the veteran is
Cost of the veteran is free.
free. They already paid for it.
Part of our mission statement is to take 99 veterans up there free of charge.
Now, you mentioned that you had some people working on this board. One of the names you mentioned was my ex-boss and a very dear friend, Joel Denny. You got a committee set up of people.
We've got a committee of probably about 12 or 13 folks, and we meet regularly. We communicate via email often, but we're getting more organized as we move closer towards our date.
For those that don't know, Joel Denny, he was a commander of the Anniston Army Depot, and great guy. Him and his wife Nancy. If there's something good going on in this community, Joel Denny's in there somewhere.
Yes, sir.
I guarantee you. He's good people. Well, we've run out of time. He was going to do this, but I hope we've covered it. In 20 seconds, you got anything to add?
No, sir. Maybe I can come back later on and give an update.
There we go. We got plenty of time. You said I thought it was like real quick, so you may be back on our co-host.
All right, sir.
I thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Really good. Really appreciate that. We got to go to a break. Come back. I've got news that you can use. Stay where you are. Get that thing out. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Appreciate David coming on doing the show today. David Hall he's with the CDP, and we're talking about the honor flights, and I hope that you took that information. Between now and next year, we're going to make this happen. $70,000. You need to find a way. And I didn't tell you that by giving this, it's a tax write-off. So somewhere in between now and next year, you're going to need a tax. Coming up on December when you do your taxes, it's a good thing to give to. So you'll get a receipt for the not-for-profit donation. Now, I got a number I want you to write down. It's 1-800-273-8255. 800-273-8255, and you press option number 1. When the voice starts talking, just hit number 1. Now, that's a suicide hotline. Folks, you hear me talking about losing 22 veterans a day, taking their lives. A lot of it has to do with economics, and then a lot of it just has to feel like it's at the end of the rope. And you might be the person that does some of the stuff that I do some of the time. I don't like to do it, but I talk veterans off the ledge, and you might be in that position. So if that hotline, I'm going to tell you about it. I had it on a keychain or a dog tag, and I've had heard things that they put you on the message box. But I called it, and they answered immediately, and I talked to them. said I want to make sure I'm giving out the right information. So that number worked for me when I tried it, and they did not do a recording or anything. So, but they did want to know, did I have a problem? I said, y'all hadn't got time. No, I didn't do that. But that is the hotline for suicide, and 22 veterans a day is just too many. One is too many, but they meet the end of the rope, and they need some help. So that's there. Keep that number handy if you know somebody that's in that. Have them call that number when it's at the end of the rope there. Want to make sure you remember the law enforcement tag. The law enforcement tag, that when you go to renew your tag, please consider purchasing the law enforcement memorial tag. It's got the shield and the rose on it, and that is a symbol of the fallen law enforcement in the line of duty. And it's what's helping us build. It's helping us build our. If we get the control room, we'll pull it up right quick for you, show you how pretty it is. There it is, bingo! And you can see that that goes with any color vehicle. Heroes never die, and it makes a statement for you, the driver, that says, I care about those who gave their life in the line of duty, and that's all it does. And you can purchase that next time you get your tag changed, and the money, the revenue from it goes to build our Alabama Law Enforcement Memorial here in Anniston, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. We are going to, that'll be the next thing, so I'll just go ahead and tell you that we're on May the 13th at 12 o'clock, for you Marines, the little hands on 12, on 1 and the big hands on 12. I'm gonna get letters for that. But anyhow, at 12 o'clock on the 13th of May, we're going to unveil the Alabama Law Enforcement Memorial, and those of you that purchase that tag are responsible for making that happen. So we've got a lot of things to do to keep it up, because every time we lose an officer, we have to pay somebody to come up there and engrave the name on it with a sandblaster, and it's not going to be cheap. So we're going to need the help on all that. So I want you to remember the Kia stores up in, when you're getting ready to shop around for an automobile. Beautiful cars in Gadsden Kia store and Anniston, South Quintard. The owner, Don Hobson, is a special forces guy, and he takes care of veterans and first responders, so be sure and do that. Okay, they tell me I'm running out of time. The bill for the prison bill is still in effect. I still haven't heard from Senator Dale Marsh. That offer I gave you for airtime on here still stands, Senator. If you'll just give me a call, we'll take care of it. I got to go to I got to get out of here now. I can't go to the break anymore. This week's salute goes to all of you that contribute to the honor flight. Let's give you a preemptive salute. I know you're going to do it. Appreciate you. See you next week.